Shalom, giving all praise to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Racha HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles, the elders at Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutation, as always, to the elect. And I wanted to talk about how this awakening, all right, and what, you would call a movement, ultimately is just the elect, all right, fulfilling prophecy, because we are all vessels chosen to fulfill what is already written. And that's the power in this movement. It's not by the numbers, and it damn sure isn't by the color, all right, but it's by the fact that what we're doing is fulfilling something that was written before we were even born, man. All right. Now, I wanted to speak on this whole skin color, skin tone argument, all right, which shows you that these men put their confidence in the flesh. Now, the flesh, all right, and color are indicators in particular situations, but as pertaining this gospel and this great awakening in the latter days, all right, we have to take ourselves out of the equation, all right, because as the scriptures say in Isaiah, the 55th chapter, okay, Isaiah 55 and 8, it says, I'll start at 7. It says, let the wicked forsake his way, all right, because there are particular ways we've been brought up to think, all right, that have nothing to do, all right, with coming into this truth. You have to put those ways off, man. All right, and that's not always the easiest thing to do. All right, sometimes you hear particular arguments and you can understand why, particular men would think that way, but it's all based upon the flesh. All right, and this awakening has nothing to do with the flesh. All right, it's all guided by the spirit, man. And that's the power of it, man. It's like nothing other. Okay, now a lot of Israelites want to make, all right, this great awakening based upon color and make this just another black power movement, man. Okay, because they've been guided by Esau's thought path, okay, to latch on to this whole black power, black thing. All right, now it says, let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts, man. When we get too far caught in our thoughts, we become unrighteous, man. As the elder Yatazak loves to say, man, you have to take yourself out of the equation. When you take yourself out of the equation, you're able to grow. All right, whether it be rebuke, all right, whether it be, understanding that, you're going to have Israelites that look like those of another nation, all right, or whatever it may be. In order for you to grow, you have to take yourself and your emotions out of the situation, man. And from that point on, you'll notice that you'll grow, man. All right. It says, let the wicked man forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts, and let him return unto the Lord, all right, Yahweh, and he will have mercy upon him, and to our God, for he will abundantly pardon, man. All right. And that's a part of making your body a living sacrifice, man. Okay, understanding this, for my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. Now, if you had leave it up to these Israelites, we would have to wait for all dark-skinned people to wake up to the truth, all people who look like so-called Negroes to wake up to the truth, man. And these men go into certain prophecies like Ephraim, being a cake not turned, and saying, well, the Ephraimites mixed with the Assyrians, who were dark-skinned people, but they don't understand that in prophecy, that which is then is now, man. Okay, there's particular things that were spoken in prophecy that pertain to what's happening now. Okay, and our people have been scattered amongst all of the nations. Okay, and what do you think will happen? As the scriptures say, the buckets, okay, this is Numbers 24:7. He said, he shall pour the water out of his buckets, and his seed shall be in many waters. Okay. Now, even on a carnal sense, you have what you call mitochondria DNA. Now, the seed of an Israelite man could be planted, okay, in the seed of a heathen woman, okay, a so-called Chinese woman, and you are nourished by the egg. So you take on particular characteristics. Now, the seed is still the seed, all right, but the look of the child can be altered by the look of the mother. You take on particular traits of your mother. Just like if you plant an apple seed in China, or it may come out with different characteristics than an apple that you may plant over here in the United States. Same thing applies to human beings, man. Okay, but imagine this process years and years and years on down the line, man. That particular seed takes on the some of the characteristics of the mother. That seed comes out looking, some like a so-called Chinese and sort of like a Negro. But then that child grows up and has a child. That seed, a male seed, grows up and has a child with a white woman, or another Chinese woman that looks like a Chinese. Eventually, that seed can on down the line look all the way like a so-called Chinese, or a so-called white, or a so-called Hamite, or whatever. Not so-called Hamite, or so-called African, or whatever nation it may be. But that seed still goes back to the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And that's really what makes this thing so powerful and so different, man, is that we have brothers and sisters scattered through all the four corners of the earth that are linked to us via our bloodline, via the spirit that we're gonna be linked back to, man. Okay, when the Lord gathers all of his elect, man. Okay, but you have to forsake, okay, your thoughts, man. You have to take confidence away from the flesh, all right, and take glory and joy in what's happening in the spirit. Because when you focus too much on the flesh, it makes you buck up against the spirit. Because what's happening in the spirit, you have brothers and sisters, all right, who look not only like so-called Negroes, but look like all nations. And what are they doing? They're waking up to the fact that they're Israelites, which is a fulfillment of what was written. Now, this is Philippians 3:3. For we are of the circumcision which worship God in spirit and rejoice in Yahushua HaMashiach. What is Yahushua HaMashiach? The fulfillment of prophecy, man. The testimony of Yahushua. All right, Revelation 19:10. And I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, see, thou do it not. For I am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahushua. Worship God, for the testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy. And what does Yahushua say? Lo, I come in the volume of the book. It is written of me. So it's through the spirit being dispersed throughout the four corners of the earth that you see these Israelites waking up. But if you have confidence in the flesh, now this in particular was speaking of Israelites who had confidence in the outward appearance, the fact that they were keeping the laws, and they deemed themselves being brought back to the Most High through that alone. All right, but we can take this on the level of how you Israelites are acting here when you see all of these brothers raising up. Here it is. You're going to put off that large number of brothers and sisters who look like the other nations. Okay, the so-called Latino and Native American, who through mixing and mingling with the heathen may take on a different look than they had in the ancient world. And what are you going to do? You're going to throw off that sacrifice. You're going to throw off the fulfillment of prophecy, all right, which they are fulfilling in their very bodies, because it is the spirit that is given to the flesh. Okay, and the spirits of each nation was chosen from the foundation of the earth. Okay, let's get that real quick in Sirach, the 24th chapter. Okay, Sirach, the 24th chapter. Okay, real quick. Sirach 24. And this is Yahushua speaking in spirit, man, because Yahushua is the wisdom of the Most High. Okay. At verse 3 says what? I came out of the mouth of the Most High. Okay. Now, when you keep going down, verse 6, it says, in the waves of the sea and in all the earth and in every people and nation, I got a possession. Okay. This was before the foundation of the earth. Nations were chosen to be exactly what they're going to be. And you can't break that process, because reincarnation exists. That's the power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. You will only be the nation that you're supposed to be. Okay, because the spirit is given to the flesh. That's power, man. But see, you have to forsake your own thoughts in the ways that you learned in this world to understand that. Okay? In every people and nation I got a possession, and with all these I sought rest. Okay, with all these nations, wisdom sought rest. So the creator of all things gave me a command, and he that made me caused my tabernacle to rest, and said, let thy dwelling be in Jacob, and thine inheritance in Israel. So that wisdom would only abide with that particular nation. And before that nation was called Israel, we were the sons of God after Adam and Seth and Enos and so forth, man. Noah, Enoch, all the way up to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Wisdom only dwelled with that particular nation. The ways of righteousness were only given to that particular nation. The praises of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai were only given unto that particular nation, man. So the spirit is given unto a flesh. So within this earthly, scenario, the flesh can come looking, like any of those nations. However, that spirit is always going to be an Israelite, because the Lord is going to always send that spirit back on the earth in its respective lot, man. And that's what's happening with brothers being raised up and the sisters being raised up all throughout the four corners of the earth, coming back to the understanding that they're Israelites, because within prophecy is written a great awakening. Okay, and it's not great according to the number of people. It's great according to the fact that we are fulfilling prophecy that was written throughout the four corners of the earth, man. Okay, Revelation 11, okay, and 3, and after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from God entered into them, all right, and they stood up on their feet, and great fear fell on them which saw them. Okay, the spirit of life from God entered into them, meaning they returned to that understanding. Now, who was that understanding given to? Only the Israelites. Okay, and on the earth, you see people coming back to the understanding that they're Israelites. You rejoice in that process, man. Okay, take yourself out of the equation and rejoice in that process, and it will give you comfort. But when you start to buck up against things based upon appearance, okay, see, we look at things from a different perspective than the average man. See, the average man is looking, well, he ain't dark enough. Well, I don't know. What was his father? And they try to go, but they're not understanding the spirit. All right, okay, overcomes all of that, man. Okay, let's see if we can get a precept to this. Okay. Yep, Ezekiel 37, man. Okay. 37:5, thus saith the Lord God unto these bones, the dry bones, the Israelites, I will cause breath to enter into you, and ye shall live. Okay, that breath is the understanding, man. And I will lay sinews upon you and bring your flesh upon you, meaning I will bring you back to the understanding of who you are, man. Okay, the Holy Spirit, all right, has been sent on the planet Earth, man. Okay, Hosea 3:5, afterwards shall the children of Israel, after that understanding will be taken away, afterwards shall the children of Israel return and seek the Lord their God and David their king, and shall fear the Lord and his goodness in the latter days. And you see that happening. Okay, so when you take yourself out of the equation, when you take your own emotions and holdups and doubts out of the equation, you rejoice in what Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai is doing via the very people who are doing it. Okay, now you'll say, well, what if there's a fake, someone who's faking the funk? The Lord, all right, will eventually out that person. The Lord is faithful, man. The Lord knoweth those who are his, man. Okay, spirit, flesh, these two lust against one another, man. And that's what you see happening with these Israelites that are on this black only kick, because here it is, they're denying prophecy being fulfilled, all right, for something that they deem important as color. Now, do I believe that in the kingdom of heaven all Israel will be returned to the glorious, dark, because we range from a dark brown to a light brown tone? Absolutely. Because looking how we look, the look of the so-called Negro in its purest form, it is the glorious look, man. All right, let's not get it twisted. However, right now we went through curses, we went through punishment, man. We went through having to be taken away from our heritage, man. And looking like the other nations causes confusion. All right, although the confusion of face is dealing with the fact that we've been taken from our heritage, looking like the other nation, what is that? That causes confusion. But it only causes confusion to those who are caught up in the flesh, man. Okay? Let's see here. Galatians 3:3. Are ye foolish, having begun in the spirit? Are ye now made perfect by the flesh? That's what these Israelites think. Now, though, that was also dealing with those, Judaizers who were teaching people they had to be circumcised after the manner of Moses, having to keep all of the laws, which is confidence in the flesh. And they thought that they would be being made perfect by the flesh. We can apply it because that's what spiritual men do. As the scriptures say, the things of wisdom are double one against another, man. So we can apply things that were going on in the church back then to things that we see happening amongst Israel right now. Okay? Let's see. And you guys are born after the flesh. This is Galatians 5:16. This I say then, walk in the spirit, that ye should not fulfill the lust of the flesh. And see, the lust of the flesh ends in what? Envy, strife. Okay? Hold up. Walk in the spirit, was that 6? Damn. Let me go back to where I was. I'm rushing, so let me, where we at? Galatians 5:16. Yep, Galatians 5:16, man. Okay. It says, for the flesh lusteth against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh. So here it is. You guys are so caught up in your flesh that you're fighting against the spirit. You're an enemy of prophecy being fulfilled for your own carnal desires, man, with this whole black only thing, man. Now, yes, looking like the so-called Negro, yes, being a dark-skinned, melanated person is beautiful, man. But you got to understand, you got heathen who have dark skin. All nations were dark at one point. But all nations didn't have the spirit of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, man. All nations were never given that understanding. So when you see a so-called a brother who looks like a so-called white man out prophesying and preaching, and he's going into the truth, he's breaking down the scriptures, man. Not heathen can't do that. Now, can someone imitate and try to infiltrate? Absolutely, that can happen. But there's only so long that's going to last, man. You got brothers who look like the other nations who have been in this thing for years, man. So you got to give all praise to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai and take yourself out of your emotion and out of the flesh. Because if you stay in that place of bitterness, you're going to find yourself fighting against Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, and you become an enemy of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Okay? Prophecy is not fulfilled by skin color. Prophecy is fulfilled by vessels chosen from the foundation of the earth, which in this lifetime, with all the mixing and the seed of Israel being scattered among these heathen, there is no way each brother is going to look like a so-called Negro. That is impossible. And if you believe that, you're absolutely walking in the flesh. Okay? You're not being realistic, man. Let me read this again. This I say then, walk in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. Walk in the spirit, man. When you walk in the spirit, man, you're not bound to Esau, the things that this world present, man. Your conversation and your mind is in the heavens, man. You're rejoicing in prophecy being fulfilled, man. You're rejoicing in, hey, man, it said the Israelites was going to wake up. He woke up. She woke up. You're not looking at their color. Okay? All right? And ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh, for the lust of the flesh lusted against the spirit. Okay? And the spirit against the flesh, man. Okay? These are contrary to one another, that ye cannot do the things that ye would, man. Okay? Even in your daily lives, you have to walk in the spirit so that you don't fulfill the deeds of the flesh, which what? Get you in trouble, man. Lead you into situations that you should not even be in, man. There's particular women you shouldn't even speak to, but you speak to them, you say hi, and what does that lead to? You got a child by this goddamn demon, and now she's ruining your life. But if you were walking in the spirit, hey, sometimes you don't even speak. Sometimes you the way she move her mouth, the way you like, man, this nigga crazy. Let me leave this nigga alone. Bye. You know, she may look nice, but it's profitable for you to make a decision that leads to life, man. So walking in the spirit goes on all sects of life, man. But in this walk, in this truth, it is not dictated by skin color. It's the power of this truth is in the spirit of things, man. It is the spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profited nothing. So the fact that these guys are coming back with all of these arguments, Negro only, all of the tribes. And my thing is, when are the 10 tribes going to stand up? These 10 tribes who are in Africa. Now, granted, you do have brothers waking up in the Africas, man, on that continent, man. You know, scattered over there, man. But you telling me that none of these brothers of the so-called Latino and Native American tribes are Israelites? You telling me Arsarith is in Africa when the Assyria, okay, that's over there in Iraq. Babylon and Assyria, pretty much of the Nineveh was the capital of what? Assyria. So you telling me it took the 10 tribes a year and a half to get from Iraq to Africa? That doesn't make any sense, man. You're bugging out, man. And these dudes are absolutely bugged out when you look into their eyes. They don't have the spirit of the Lord is not on them, man. Why? Because they're fleshly men sent to lead men astray according to their fleshly arguments. Okay? Let's see here. That's pretty much it, man. So you got to walk in the spirit, man. You got to walk in the spirit, man. Romans 8. Let's see here. Let me end it off here. Romans 8 and 9. Woo. Romans 8 and 6. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. Because the carnal mind is enmity against God, for it is not subject to the law of God. You're not subject to what's written. You start to create your own narrative and your own thing. But you ignoring that prophecy is being fulfilled right before your eyes, man. That's crazy and cold how the Lord keep you niggas out of the temple, man. It says, for it is not subject to the law of God, neither, all right, indeed, can be. All right. And we're under the law of the spirit, man. Obedience over I forget the word I'm looking for, man. We're into obedience to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua over the traditions of the law. Okay. And being obedient to the spirit. It says, so then that then they that are in the flesh cannot please God, but ye are not in the flesh, but in the spirit. You see that? And a lot of times we do get caught up in our flesh, man. But the man who's in the spirit is going to put that carnal thought aside. All right. And the spirit is going to overcome that, man. But the carnal man is going to take that thought and run with it and make it a doctrine. But ye are not in the flesh, but in the spirit, if so be that the spirit of God dwell in you. Now, if any man have not the spirit of Hamashiach, he is none of his. And if Hamashiach be in you, the body is dead because of sin, but the spirit is life because of righteousness, man. All right. But the spirit of him that dwelleth, that raised up Yahushua from the dead dwelleth in you. He that raised up Hamashiach from the dead shall also quicken your mortal bodies by his spirit that dwelleth in you. You see that? Therefore, brethren, we are not debtors to the flesh to live after the flesh. And that's what these niggas are doing. They're not understanding that the counsel from on high has been imparted to these brothers and sisters who are waking up, man. The brothers at the forefront, but the sisters who listen who may look like the other nations, man. Because we had one a couple of weeks ago, and I thought she was a so-called white woman. Then when I started to talk to her on the side, she came up asking questions. I'm like, this is an Israelite. Coming back to the understanding that she's an Israelite. She said, what? I've been searching and nothing has made sense. But when I heard you guys, I couldn't stop listening. I had to come out here and meet you guys. Had tattoos all over. I was like, man, this is an Edomite. But then once I looked in her eyes, I said, wait a minute. And talking to her, as the scriptures say, try the spirit by the spirit. That's an Israelite, man. And the brother agreed, man. And, you know, that's going to happen on a large scale here very soon. And you niggas are going to be so caught up in your flesh that you're going to fight against it, man. Shalom.